Okay, with Manchester United releasing Mason Greenwood, is his career over? Will another club be brave enough to sign him, considering the optics of it and the PR nightmare that will be, and will fans, be happy with that? On the football field, there's no doubt of his ability, his skill level, and he's a very talented, a bit raw but talented young player. He's only 21. The problem is, with what's happened at Manchester United, they've allowed the situation to drag on longer than it needed to be. And that comes down to club leadership. That comes down to the boardroom and the owners. The owners are the Glazer family aren't popular owners, and they're very standoffish. They rarely come to games, and they delegate, to their CEO, their CFO, their PR people. They delegate to the board. And for me, I think that was some weak leadership. Um, it's taken another 7.5 months for their internal review to say, okay, it's best if we cut him loose. Now, the fact that he's now available to be signed, on a footballing standpoint, he's a brilliant, young, talented player. There's still a lot more development in his game, but he's a brilliant, young, talented player. On a commercial standpoint and a PR standpoint, I think it'd be very, very difficult for a club to sign him, at least in England. Whether he can get signed on the continent, go to the MLS, go to Saudi Arabia, a club's going to have to be brave. Now, in Benjamin Mendy's case, he was found not guilty of the charges he was facing, which were even more serious than what Mason Greenwood was facing, potentially longer sentence. Man City straight away, as soon as he was charged and remanded in custody, they terminated his contract. As soon as he was found not guilty in court, he within a few days he signed over in France for Lorient, and he's left England. He's done as a Premier League player. So could Mason Greenwood do something similar, sign for a club on the continent, where maybe the press coverage wasn't as heavy as it was here? Or will a European club still look at that potential of, well, he's misbehaved before off the field, even before these charges? We know at least of one serious misbehavioural incident where, on England duty, he breached the bubble protocols in Iceland, in Reykjavik, with Phil Foden, and was sent home in disgrace from that international duty by Gareth Southgate. We also have heard rumours, now there's no smoke without fire, of him having a very colourful, partying lifestyle. These are unsubstantiated rumours, but these rumours have been on social media for a while that, some of these young players, including Mason Greenwood, seem to party quite heavily. Whether that was a contributing factor to him getting, in legal difficulty last year and the beginning of this year, that's up for debate. But I do see a lot of similarities in the Mason Greenwood situation with a lot of other situations involving professional athletes. This is not just a one-off with a Man United player getting into hot water. There's enough players who've had legal issues, not just in football, but in a variety of high-profile team sports and in track and field athletics, who've had some very colourful private lives that have ultimately cost them sponsors, contracts, got them sacked of contracts, cost them contract extensions, whatever. Has Mason Greenwood's off-field antics cost him his career, or will a club be brave enough to weather the backlash that's going to be felt, and brave enough to go, okay, we can work with this player, we can work with this individual, and we can guide him in a more positive direction than what Man United failed to do? That's the question. What we've seen, though, is Man United were pressured by fan groups, partially, and commercial sponsors may go, we don't want our brand associated with domestic violence against women. We don't want that. Even if he's not been taken to court, the allegations are still there. His reputation is still damaged. And I think Manchester United not only bowed to fan pressure, but also commercial pressure as well. Had they kept him, sponsors may have gone, we don't want to renew our contract with you. We don't know the full ins and outs of how his teammates felt about him being, around the club. We know that the Man United women's team, a lot of them had a very dim view of the situation and weren't overly happy to be associated as Man United players, admittedly on the women's side of things, with Mason Greenwood being a member of the club. So, and then we had Rachel Riley, who's a very famous fan, and she's a TV presenter, and she's obviously famous for Countdown and 8 out of 10 Cats on TV. She said if they kept Mason Greenwood, her season ticket would be not renewed because she's a season ticket holder. She was very public in saying this is the wrong message to give out, considering that the England women's team were on the way to making a World Cup final when this review was taking place, and a lot of those England Lionesses are Manchester United players in the WSL. So, and there was a lot of fan groups that didn't want him associated with the club anymore. So, hypothetically, let's say another club in the Premier League or the Championship or in one of the top leagues in Europe, are they going to be brave enough to sign him with all the the baggage, the PR nightmare that's going to be, and how will fans respond? Does he deserve a second chance in his chosen profession? Does he deserve that second chance? The other concern is, as a club, he hasn't played football for 20 months. He has not kicked a ball in anger on a field in a competitive match for 20 months. He may have been training, but he has not played for that long. Could that have damaged his development because he was a young developing player at the time? I think he was 19 at the time. He was arrested. I think he turned 20 during that period. He's just turned 21. Has his development as a player, shall I say, been affected negatively? I would say yes. So we'll see what happens. But place your thoughts in the comment section below. And let's see what the feedback is, because a lot of fans did not want him to wear a Manchester United jersey again. There's a lot of fans who don't want him to wear an England jersey again, should he ever, if he does resurrect his career, be selected for England. And other fan groups for other clubs say we don't want him to sign here. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does, if his agent can find him a club willing to take him, and if a club is brave enough to sign him. Even though he's been, not even got to court, and the charges have been dropped, and new evidence has emerged, it's still been a very, very sorry 20-month saga. And there has to be questions about his attitude, his behaviour, and his off-field private life, because that does have an impact. And we'll see what comes of it. But there we go. Does he sign for another club, or is his career done and dusted at the age of 21? We shall see. Place your thoughts in the comment section below. I will have some more content for you very, very soon. And from me, for now, it is goodbye.